Hi roses, my name is Tianna and welcome to today's reading. This reading is all about what to expect in Pisces season for air signs. So that is if you have a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius sun, moon, or rising sign. If you do not but still feel called to this reading, please feel free to stick around. If this resonates, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in more tarot content with me, you can find my Twitter at Tianna Rose Tarot, or use the link in the description box to book a personal reading with me. First of all, for air signs in Pisces season, we have the cards Sacred Journey, Life Cycles, Family, and Transformation. And then we have Eternal Love, Happiness, Harmony, and Fulfillment. The important term that is standing out to me between these two cards is cycles. So for a lot of us, I think in our society, we think of things very linearly. And therefore, it can feel easy to think that we're going on this journey that has a beginning and an end point. But this is eternal and it is a cycle. This is the tree of life imagery here as well. And this eternal love is not necessarily from a romantic partner. It isn't even necessarily from friends or family in this lifetime. This is something that is truly transcendent. And you guys are going to be kind of starting to think about things differently this Pisces season, recognizing that this isn't a linear journey in the way that you might have thought about in the past, that you are connected to long-standing lineages, ancestry. This is like a DNA pattern here. This is from the stars. And that is going to maybe feel a bit scary at first, but also maybe give you a sense of comfort where you can realize that you are doing everything the way that you are meant to be doing. And that you are never alone, that you are always connected and able to be connected to this sense of really deep, eternal love, and maybe a form that you haven't experienced anywhere else. Something that is able to really remind you of how special it is to be born onto this planet and to have the connections that we do, to have the ability to do all of the things that we can do as humans. Even though there may be things that have overcomplicated life in a lot of different ways, these cards symbolize to me really connecting to something a bit simpler. Reminding yourself that it doesn't have to be so complicated, that you can feel fulfilled as you are, coming into this really deep form of happiness that is not necessarily going to feel like a high all of the time, but is something that you can always kind of come back to, maybe increasing your baseline of what that can feel like for yourself. And again, that is kind of connected to releasing this idea that things are supposed to be linear, because that ideology, that mindset, makes it so that we feel like we're somehow failing in life, that we're not as far ahead as we feel like we should be. But when we kind of try to remove that from the equation, we recognize that we are doing exactly what we need to be doing. And also connecting to your family at this time, and maybe expanding what family can mean to you. That can show up in a lot of different ways, but surrounding yourself by people who kind of do show you this unconditional love, going to be really important at this time. We have the Two of Wands, so you are still somebody who's looking towards the future. You are maybe a bit more of a planner. You're somebody who wants to know what to expect. And again, if we kind of move out of this linear mindset, we can recognize that we don't always need to know where we're going. In fact, we can't necessarily know where we're going. We can make all of the plans that we want to. And it's always good to have a sense of direction, but that can end up looking a lot of different ways. And so try to balance that during this Pisces season. Remember what your goals are, but recognize that it might not look exactly as you expected. We have the Queen of Pentacles and this rabbit energy here. That might be significant. This is going to be a time of also redefining what success looks like for you. Some of you might have really strong long-term goals of where you want to be, what you want your finances to look like, what you want your love life to look like. And those things are great. And within our current system, that is kind of the like smartest quote unquote way to get ahead. But that's not necessarily going to be what is going to bring you this deep feeling of fulfillment. And so in this process, you're kind of redefining what that success can look like and recognizing that while all of those things can be great to have, and we do kind of need money to get to certain thresholds in life, but you also are already in this place of abundance. This isn't something that you have to go work for or reach a certain status point in order to be seen in a certain way or feel like you can sit in your own throne, wear your own crown. That is something that you can do already. Let's see what else is happening in Pisces season for air signs. We have the card Kisses. So again, this unconditional loving energy, giving and receiving affection, falling in love. So this could be more romantic, but it can also represent this deeper form of love as well that doesn't necessarily even come from another person, could come from yourself. But definitely for some of you, if you are in kind of the early stages of dating somebody, or if you're interested in dating someone, there will be some more affection coming in, kind of that more flirty energy. And also maybe if you're with a current partner, a reconnection to that, kind of re-falling in love with this person, reminding yourself why you are with them and making sure that you're not taking that for granted. In continuation of that, we have the card Soulmates. This doesn't necessarily mean the way that most people think about soulmates, in a very much like this is the one person meant for you type of energy, like for the rest of your life. That's not necessarily what this means. This means that you're connecting with people, energies could show up in a lot of different ways that you are to some extent meant to interact with in this lifetime for a specific reason. Does not necessarily mean that it is meant to be a lifelong situation, and oftentimes it's not ideal in that sense to be that way, because this is somebody that maybe has something to teach you, something that you can really get a powerful experience from, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that linear length of time. And the assumption that there is going to be one person that we're with for the rest of our lives is kind of still connected to that linear mindset. And kind of this energy that I'm picking up from all of these cards is recognizing being in the present and the power that that can hold. And so connecting with somebody, even if it's just for a short period of time, can be very powerful in itself. And then we have the Runner. For some of you, you guys are going to be taking on kind of a new skill, a new hobby like running. It could be something about wanting to get more fit, wanting to be in a specific status group. And so really consider why you are taking on something like that, if that's something that you're doing. This also does represent kind of a fear of intimacy, more of an avoidant attachment type of energy. That is something that you should consider if you think that might apply to you, but if it does not resonate, please do not take that. For some of you, this does represent maybe somebody else that you're interacting with, somebody who is truly only able to interact for a shorter period of time or at a lesser depth of intimacy than you might be interested in. And so this does not mean that you have to agree to something more casual than feels comfortable for you or anything like that. If you find yourself in a connection with somebody who is not showing up to the depth that you are interested in, then that is very important information to take with you. But you might want to keep an open mind, because there might still be things that you can get out of connecting with somebody, even if you're not necessarily 100% compatible on all of the same things. So just find that balance within that. And I'm going to pull a few more romance cards just to see. Keep an open mind. As I was just saying, your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So this could be somebody that you still have something to learn from. And you might find that it's a new type of person that you're really interested in, or you might find that it's not the case, but at least you're then learning something. I had one more card that fell on the floor here. Which is let go of control issues. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. So as I said, a lot of you could be very much forward planners, forward thinkers, wanting to kind of try to control your future and understanding what's going to come next. Maybe you're having a hard time, feels very uncomfortable to not know. But again, living in the moment and letting things unfold naturally is going to be the most beneficial to you at that time. Over this next Pisces season, please just keep that in mind. Again, take what resonates and leave the rest. And I hope you have a great Pisces season. Thank you, air signs.